Right. Hello, anyone that is joining, welcome. Welcome. I'm just going to give a chance for a few people to join. I know this is going to be a podcast and YouTube video too, so sorry about that if you're watching it on one of those, but I'll be with you very shortly. But today I want to talk about boredom eating because of coronavirus. I had a lot of messages in my inbox the last few days on how to cope with boredom eating. And it's a big thing because, it's not normal right now. Everyone's probably freaking out, or probably not so much now because it's happened for a couple of weeks now. But it's definitely true that most people will be feeling more edgy than normal. Bored is a big one, and probably more stressed, which can definitely trigger emotional eating, okay? So I want to address boredom eating today. So because there is so much fear, panic and boredom around at the moment, I think it's fair to assume that some of us, or most of us, will emotionally eat or binge eat, whatever you want to call it, will probably binge anyway. Especially at this time. So that's just real talk. I'm not going to sit here and promise you that I can completely help you stop binge eating immediately, because that's something that I can't guarantee, and I don't sell bullshit. But if you follow my guidelines that I talk about in general, you will be able to stop binge eating over time. But I wanted to help you guys today with 3 tools to help you with boredom eating. Okay, so here we go. Tool number 1 is the first line of defense when it comes to emotional and boredom eating is to get present, check in with your body and ask yourself how you're feeling. And before you turn this off, just bear with me because the other 2 tools are a lot more exciting and appealing than this. So I talk about this quite a lot, and what I want you to do this next week, starting from today, if you feel the need to eat because you're bored, right? I want you to set your timer for 2 minutes, 3 minutes if you can. And then as soon as you've pressed start on your timer, I want you to just sit with yourself, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, take a few deep breaths, and just ask yourself how you're feeling. It's probably obvious that one of the feelings is going to be boredom, of course, but just check in with yourself and ask again, what else am I feeling? And do that for 2 or 3 minutes. So when your timer goes off, you're done feeling your feelings, right? And I still want you to promise yourself before you do this that you will continue to eat whatever food you had planned on eating before you do this. That's important. Allowance and promising yourself you're allowed to have the chocolate, as an example, when you've done this timing of feeling your feelings. So let's say you've done that, you checked in, you've asked yourself how you're doing, what's going on, and if the timer goes off and you still want the chocolate, I'm going to use chocolate as an example because clearly that's what I use or like to eat a lot of, then give yourself 100% full permission, or I can give permission for you if you for some reason can't give it to yourself, that you can go and eat the thing, the chocolate, whatever it was you wanted. But by doing this stopping and feeling, it's just practicing, okay? And then the longer you go with feeling your feelings, you might one day be like, oh, well, actually, I'm not that bothered about eating the chocolate anymore. But that might come, it might not. But this is essential just to practice feeling and checking in with yourself, okay? So tool number 2 is the majority of the time when you take time to stop, check in with yourself and feel, it can take away the urge to eat a lot of food or to go on that crazy out of control binge that you was going to go on. But during this time of lockdown and you're completely out of your routine, so you're not doing your normal structure of life, and as humans we like routine and we like a bit of structure, so this might not be as effective at this point. So regardless of how much you feel your feelings, there'll be a point where you're going to want to eat emotionally or you're going to want to binge no matter what. So number 1 is be kind to yourself, okay? And I know I say this a lot, but if you're restricting or beating yourself up for wanting to eat because you're bored, that's not going to help in the slightest, because actually when you're eating, when you're not actually hungry, it's actually a sign that you're trying to take care of yourself in some way. And whether you believe it or not, that's true. Overeating is in an attempt to take care of yourself somehow. So instead of you beating yourself up, see if you can follow my tips, which I'm going to share with you now, on how to do a binge right. And then you might be thinking, why the hell is she telling me how to binge properly? But you'll see as I go through the tips why this is important. Okay, so number one, if you've done the first step of get present, feeling your feelings, you need to allow, and in capital letters, quotes, whatever you want to say, allow yourself to have whatever food you want to have. So reframe yourself from thinking I'm going to be naughty, I'm going to be bad, because it's those feelings in the first place that drive us to overeat in the first place, especially around food, because we're restricting, whereas allowance, it makes us think completely differently. It's all about your mindset. So that's number one, allow. Number two, go and buy exactly what it is you want to eat and what you're craving. So I know a lot of you guys are on lockdown and you're only supposed to go to the supermarket if you're buying essentials. What I said the other day, we're not on lockdown in the Netherlands, but in England, I know that you are. My mum said you're only allowed to go to shop for essentials. So I made a little joke saying, well, if I was there and I wanted to buy my chocolate, I'd have to buy some bread and milk as well. So I'm not saying be irresponsible to the whole coronavirus thing. Be careful, be responsible. But if you want something, go and get exactly what you want. But maybe you might have to bulk it out and buy some pasta or something with it, okay? And so if you can do that, go exactly and get exactly what it is you want, because this is really important, because you're actually honouring exactly what it is you want. Because what you'll find is, say, for example, if you're craving chocolate and then all you can find or all you eat is like a, what do you call those, like fake chocolate bar things, like a cereal bar with chocolate in, that's not going to hit the spot because you want chocolate, like proper chocolate. So going to get exactly what you want will satisfy you and you're honouring your feelings. So number three of how to do a binge properly is when you're going to eat it, set your environment up to almost like a boudoir. What is a boudoir? I think if a boudoir is completely sexual, ignore exactly what I've just said. What I'm trying to get is set yourself up to really enjoy this experience of what you're going to eat. So for example, light candles, put some music on, dim the lighting or whatever. Set your area up so it's going to be really pleasurable. Because if you're eating really fast, with the fridge open, like quickly trying to eat it before anyone sees you, or because you feel guilty or shameful, so you're just getting it in, or if you go to the toilet to eat something, which is what I used to do, then you're not giving yourself the experience and enjoyment that you deserve. So if you have a spouse or a partner, or if you live with someone that judges your eating behaviours, this can be extremely difficult. And I've been there, hence the toilet eating in the toilet. So what I would recommend for this is that, number one, you have a conversation with this person, an open conversation, and say, look, you're following the advice from me, and explain to your partner who I am roughly, so they don't think I'm a nutter, I know what I'm talking about, my process works, this is what you're choosing to follow. So you would really appreciate their support and non-judgment with your food behaviours, okay? If talking to them is not an option, I really would recommend taking yourself off somewhere quiet where you can just be alone without worrying about judgment, food judgment. So for now, this might be your car. I'm not encouraging this, but if you're going to binge or emotional eat, you may as well make it as pleasurable as possible, and you don't want to feel judged by anyone because you're probably judging yourself enough anyway, which we're going to try and let go of. So if you're in your car, park up somewhere nice, take your seatbelt off, put your seat back, put some music on. Clearly I'm an expert in this, so just make the experience, your environment, as pleasurable as possible. Okay, which leads me on to number 4. By the way, can we just ignore my hair today? Don't know what's going on with my hair. It's like a bird's nest. So number 4, that was random, put your food into cute little bowls or plates. So obviously if you're in the car, you can't do this, but don't eat it from the packet, not because you're trying to restrict your food amounts or like how much you have, but it just makes the experience better. So if you find nice little bowls that you like and you've got peanut M&Ms, for example, pour some of it into a bowl, and you can always go and get more anyway when you've eaten the bowl if you want more. So that does really help. So make your food, whatever you're going to eat, as attractive as possible. And it also helps you eat more mindfully, which brings me on to tip number 5 with how to do a binge properly. Eat mindfully. And what I mean by that is thoroughly enjoy your food. So if you're going to eat, you may as well completely enjoy it, right? So why wouldn't you? So smell your food, make orgasm noises when you're eating your food if you want to. I think I do that sometimes when I eat chocolate. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so good. You don't have to do that clearly, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, smell it, pay attention to it, really focus on the textures. Don't multitask. Don't scroll on Facebook or Instagram when you're eating. Just really concentrate on what you're eating and try not to shove food in your mouth, because that kind of behavior encourages or is probably brought on by the feeling of guilt and shame, as if you're doing something wrong, but you're not doing anything wrong. So why would you be speed eating? Okay, so just bear that in mind. Even if you don't believe me when I say you're not doing anything wrong, which you won't if you're new to all this, but just practice and imagine me talking to you, and then just practice enjoying the experience of you eating more than you do now, okay? And then number 6 is stop when you feel satisfied. And whatever satisfied means to you, there's no judgment here. So satisfied isn't because the packet says you've had enough. Satisfied to you is when you feel that you've had enough. And remind yourself whilst you're eating that you can actually eat this thing whenever you want to. You can have whatever you're eating later today or tomorrow, whenever you want, because you're not going to restrict this. You can't be dieting when you're doing things like this, because then you just go in the binge diet cycle, which doesn't work, guys, okay? You probably know that already. So just remind yourself that you can have whatever you want when you want. Reverse psychology is so freaking powerful, and it's actually really, really helpful. So allow. So number 7, which is the last binge tip to do it properly, is to move on. So when you've enjoyed that, you've had enough, move on. Don't beat yourself up. I repeat, you've done nothing wrong. You've just chosen to follow your emotional desire to eat, and that's completely okay. And if you're freaking out right now about weight gain, this is where you need to ask yourself. I've got a few things to say about this. So has dieting and the binging that comes with it helped me to achieve my ideal body, or has it just sent me into a crazy person around food? So what else I want to say is you need to trust this process. If you're wondering what process I'm talking about, I've got plenty of blogs, YouTube videos, podcasts about how to give up dieting, become free around food, and be comfortable in your body. And I always talk about a process, because if you follow the process, you will end up happy at your natural, healthiest weight. And I know that might freak some people out, but trust me, the process works. I've been there. So have loads of my clients and all the women that I help. This is why I'm helping you guys. So if you are binging regularly right now, it's most likely you will be in a smaller body through the end of this process. If you're restricting more now and only binging occasionally, depending on what your body asks for, you might end up a little bit bigger by the end of the process. So if that freaks you out, you again have a choice. Would you prefer to stay where you are now on a different diet every week, constantly feeling guilt and shame, falling off the wagon, starting again every Monday, constantly hating your body? Or would you prefer to work through the process, which at some point you will get freaked out by this process and it will be uncomfortable. However, you will, if you go through the process, especially with guided support, you will reach the point where you no longer think about food unless you are hungry. You can eat your favourite foods, whatever you want, without restricting whenever you want it, without feeling crazy around it or losing control, without feeling guilty. And you will make peace with your body, and you will also find your natural healthy body size and be happy about it, and it will be completely effortless to maintain. So if that sounds amazing, it is possible for you, I promise. And it might sound completely fucked up, excuse my language, but allowing all foods and stop looking at your binge or emotional eating as something that's bad will actually help you to stop binge eating. And I might lose some of you here, but the key is to allow the binges to happen. Once you stop thinking of the binges the worst thing in the world, something magical changes. The permission is the permission that ultimately liberates you, okay? And tip number 3 of the tips for boredom eating is, and I know this might not be possible for everybody, but seriously, consider signing up for my Ultimate Food Freedom and Body Confidence program, because there's loads of different payment options on there. There's 3 different choices, bronze, silver and gold, depending on which platform you want to choose. And if you can't invest in yourself on the website prices, I'm going to offer €100 off. And if you would like that, just email me and say that you watched this video and I said that you could have €100 off. And also there's payment plans on there, but we can literally make a payment plan to suit you, because you deserve to get over this binge and diet cycle. And what I teach, it really, really, really works. Because giving up dieting, breaking free from binge eating, making friends with your body, imagine that, and reaching and maintaining your healthiest natural weight and being happy about it is 1,000,000% possible for you. And I promise you, if I can do it, so can you. Because if you've not read my story, take a little look on my website about where I started on this journey. And so I promise, if I can do it, so can you. So I hope these tools were helpful. I really have got you back, because we're all in this together. And if anyone's watching has got any questions, please type the questions in. I don't know if anyone's watching on here, I can't tell. But please type any questions in, and I'd love to answer them now, so it might help other people too. But I'm sending you the biggest cuddle from at least 2 feet away, of course, because of the whole social distancing thing. If anyone's got any questions, let me know before I end the video. My hay fever is so bad today. Isn't it funny how every season that we're in, there's always like, not a problem, but there's something always comes with each season. Like the winter, it's always having a cold. The summer, spring, hay fever for me. Maybe I'm getting corona. No, I don't think anyone's got any questions. Okay, well, I'm going to end it there. I hope these tips helped. I love you guys, and I will speak to you next time. Bye.